Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, January the 16th. Pleasure to see everybody after the new year. Hope everybody had a great holiday and a great New Year celebration. I want to invite Stuart Jacobson. He's going to do the invocation tonight. And then we've got the privilege of having our Finest and Bravest Foundation, and we're going to do a special award. Matter of fact, we're going to move them up on the agenda, but we're going to ask them to come down and lead us in the pledge. Stuart?
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody please stand and join me. Fellow council members, esteemed community leaders, and fellow residents, as we gather here today to discuss matters that impact our community, let us take a moment to reflect on the values that unite us. In the spirit of unity and understanding, we call upon the wisdom that transcends our differences. May our deliberations be guided by justice, compassion, and a sincere desire to improve the well-being of all residents. Let us appreciate the diversity that enriches our community and work together for the common good. Let us always keep in our hearts those who protect and serve our community, with special gratitude for our Office of Emergency Management and Public Works, who served us very valiantly in the last few days. May our collective efforts lead to a city that thrives in harmony, justice, and prosperity for all. Amen. I would like to ask if KK West and Debbie Marcel would join me up front here. Okay, KK, Scott, Marvin, you're a poor substitute for Debbie, but we'll see what we can do here. All right, so who would like, usually we have school children. So, okay, all right, go ahead. All right, there you go, please.
All right. Go what?
Just start with I.
All right. I, to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
And then you can start reading that one up there.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Now stay up here because the mayor's going to go right into a recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
If the council members don't have a problem, we're going to move item number 4 up on the agenda. I'm going to ask Chief Poland and Boker to come down front, please. Item number 4, donations. 4A, consideration of an action on acceptance of a donation from the Finest and Bravest Foundation in the amount of $200,000 for public safety and authorizing a budget amendment in the amount of $200,000 to revenues and expenditures. And Doug, Mark, I'm going to ask you to introduce the item, and then I'd ask all the members of the Finest and Bravest Foundation if you'd please come down and join them.
All right. Well, about a year ago, there was an idea to put together Bravest and Finest organization to further solidify the public safety stance of Sugar Land, and this group came together and answered the call, and what a group of leaders that was assembled, and so they've hosted an event as a fundraiser. And the funds will, this really just goes to show, I've always said it takes 3 things to have a truly remarkable first responder agency. One is the world-class responders that we employ in police and fire. 2 is the city council and the city governance that supports the first responders the way they do. And the 3rd and most important is the community support. And this group really came forward, and these funds will further enhance the public safety to our citizens and to our first responders. So many thanks to you.
Thanks, Chief. I know I sound like a broken record every time I talk on the community support and the outreach here. But again, the support here from y'all is just unbelievable, and it means the world to us. So for this as my first event with the City of Sugar Land and a joint event with Fire, honestly, I did not know what to expect, but I never imagined it would be so successful. So typical police officers, when we go back to the team and we start talking about, hey, here's the community support. It's amazing. Look what we have. Let's start putting together ideas. Of course, they come back with a wish list that's a mile long. But what the department is receiving today from y'all, it's unbelievable. It's taken some of our technology components that we did not budget for that we're going to be able to get, which I just want to share real briefly if I can, because it is so important to our team. We have a very extensive drone unit program already, but technology is expensive, and there's a lot of little bells and whistles with that we just want to keep expanding, that we don't budget for. So we're adding another drone. We're adding a command unit that goes in the back of a Tahoe for a drone. We're adding software and a computer it's called Pix4D, that can essentially put together a fatality accident back together perfectly in a couple of minutes that we can use for prosecution. Just things like that. So it is helping us tremendously, and it's giving back to citizens. It's helping the citizens. So thank you so much. It means the world to me and these guys back here.
So on behalf of the board and those that worked so hard, the volunteers, we were honored and blessed to be presenting sponsors. It enriched us as much as the two departments. And it brought the community even closer together. And I appreciated the invocation because the word united is all throughout this. The community's united, the departments are so important, and they became united. This event that used to be two is now one and will be for many, many years. And so we feel united as City Council, the community, the departments, as one body with one purpose, and that's justice and safety and perseverance and preservation. And we thank you. God bless every man and woman who commits what y'all do, your lives, your work, your family. It blesses each and every one of us. And so my dear friend Marvin has a check for the fire department. We do. If you can hold it till the 15th, it'd be good. And then I have one for the police. This one's good today. Thank you. Okay. So thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us, Mr. Mayor.
Before I go to the proclamation, can I get a motion? I've got a motion to approve by, I can't see, Jen? Second by Kermali. Since I'm standing down here, we'll go with a hand vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Now, thank y'all from the bottom of our heart. You don't know, I talked to Poland when he first came here, when we interviewed Mark, and listened to him talk about where he came from, Loudoun County. We take for granted that the private sector, you all, step up and support our police and fire at, quite frankly, another level. But when you talk to Mark and you talk to people that have come from other places, this is not normal. We take it for being normal because we're Sugar Land, but it's not normal in the rest of this country. So thank you all. Thank you all for your commitment. Thank you all for supporting us, for supporting the men and women of our police and fire departments, because they're the ones that place their lives in front of us to protect us each and every day. And we appreciate that. Let me read a proclamation. It won't do justice, but we'll give it a shot. Finest and Bravest Foundation, January 16th, 2024. Whereas the Finest and Bravest Foundation's mission is to unite the community, Scott, and work hand in hand with businesses and individuals who share their passion for supporting first responders. And whereas the Finest and Bravest Foundation strives to champion their efforts by raising funds for life-saving equipment, providing educational scholarships, and addressing the urgent needs of our finest and bravest families. And whereas the Finest and Bravest Foundation's mission is to support Sugar Land's first responders to ensure that they have the resources and support they need to fulfill their vital roles, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the efforts of the Finest and Bravest Foundation's $200,000 donation made to the Sugar Land Fire and Police Department to enhance their capabilities and resources, and reinforcing their commitment to public safety. And it's by my hand as a signature, but our city council. And now I'd ask police, fire, if y'all come down, I'll get you guys to stand this way. Come on up. A little bit more so we can get everybody. Council members, you come down.
Now can I come here?
Now you can come. I told her she had to stay on the dais until we got through this.
We have to squeeze like right in.
Hey, Debbie.
Big bird. High as you can.
Now Debbie's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And we'll get your microphone.
My name is Brandon. So I'm from Troop 731, and I'm working on the Communications and Citizenship and Community Merit Badge.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Pasha. I'm working on the Communications Merit Badge, and I'm Troop 731.
All right, well, thank you. Welcome. Y'all picked a good one because hopefully if the council members aren't long-winded, this will be pretty quick agenda. Item number 2, public comment. Public comments for anybody that wants to speak on an agenda item that does not have a public hearing. Do we have anybody in the audience? Please come down the podium, name, address, and which item you'd like to speak on, and we'll give you 3 minutes. Anybody? Item number 3, consent agenda. Consent agenda is going to be taken as one motion unless a council member wants to remove an item. I don't think that's the case tonight. So we're going to take one motion for items A through F. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by McCutcheon. Do I have a second? Second. And a second by Ferguson. You'll vote at this time, please. And I'm the straggler, and it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. We've already been through item number 4. Item number 5, public hearings, 5A. Public hearing. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on City of Sugar Land Ordinance number 2329, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, amending the Telfair West Business District, Planned Development District, Final Development Plan, located between U.S. Highway 59 and Telfair Avenue, west of University Boulevard, readopting the Final Development Plan for the entire planned development, and repealing ordinance number 1909. And we have with us tonight Laura Waller, our senior planner. Laura.
Good evening. So this evening we're going to be talking about the Telfair West Business District. So this is over off of 59, just past the university exit. This is where Brisbane Court is located, and it involves all of those reserves along that private road, as well as Addison, which was dedicated as a public right-of-way. The PD portion of the property is moving forward for an amendment to allow for shared parking as well as some public parking spaces. So the existing sites are primarily built out or considerably under construction. There is only one lot that we are still waiting to see plans for. The current ordinance 1909 does not address shared parking whatsoever. There is no parking really mentioned in that ordinance. So the request is to add an allowance for the ULI, that's the Urban Land Institute shared parking ratios. That is a standard thing that is allowed. It just has to be authorized by council in order to be able to utilize it. And it would allow for more flexibility to change uses in the future. If a future land use has a different parking ratio than is required at the time of permitting. So this would allow for some flexibility to change uses from office to something else that might have a different ratio. Additionally, this will also allow for parking spaces to be built in the existing median. So as I mentioned, Brisbane Court is a private street. This amendment would allow for parking spaces to be built inside that 50-foot median in order to provide for some shared public parking in that private street. It would require, however, future approval from the Telfair Property Owners Association because they do own that property. So the FDP regulations, they would allow for parking to be shared among and between the reserves. So that means that someone who owns the Reserve I, if they want to request to share parking with their neighbor, so long as the uses are compatible, they can. Shared parking can also be utilized within a site. So if you have multiple uses in one building, one spot may be devoted to use A for these hours and use B for these hours because they are compatible uses. The shared public parking that would be located within the medians of Brisbane are allowed, but they are subject to additional criteria as well as a cross-section. So these regulations are things like no closer than 10 feet from a pedestrian plaza, no closer than 20 feet from the end of a median or Addison, 5 feet away from the pedestrian pathway, 5 feet from existing trees. They are not allowed within the cul-de-sac bulb, and parallel parking would be prohibited if it's adjacent to any of those median parking spaces. As well as one contiguous bay, you cannot have more than 10 spaces in a row. And the spaces are going to need to be angled at 60 degrees in order to accommodate easier turn in and out on that street. So this is a example section. So all of these parking spaces will need to meet this section, which does require a minimum depth of 17 feet and a minimum width of 9 feet. And one-way directional signage is required in order to just confirm that you will be going the correct way on that street. P&Z Commission did have a public hearing in December for this item, December 11th, at which no speakers were present. There were some clarifying questions about the different criteria that I just listed and about shared parking, some examples about how that works. And then Commission unanimously approved the recommendation of approval to Council. Since that meeting, we did get one phone inquiry. It's from one of the property owners further down the street. And they were just asking about what the regulations were, what it would authorize them to do, things like that. And so staff provided those answers, and there is no opposition from them. Public hearing requirements were met, mailers sent out, and notification published. We also sent a specific mailer to the Telfair POA to make sure they are aware. As I mentioned, we did receive that one phone inquiry. However, we are not aware of any opposition. So therefore, staff and commission does recommend approval of the ordinance 2329, and we do have the applicant present for any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Laura. At this time, we're going to hold our questions and we're going to open to a public hearing and hear anybody that would like to speak on this particular item. Second call. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to item A. First consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2379, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, amending the Telfair West Business District Plan Development District Final Development Plan located between Highway 59 and Telfair Avenue west of University Boulevard, readopting the final development plan for the entire plan development and repealing ordinance number 1909. Any questions of Laura from the council members? Carol?
To have a comment. Twice when I've been on Brisbane Court, turning on from Addison, I have encountered someone going the wrong direction on that. I don't know if there can be anything done with signage or anything to make it more clear, but that's a...
Yes, so one of the conditions of putting in any additional parking is that you have to put in one-way signage also. So that is the trigger to help solve some of those existing traffic issues.
And Nishan?
Laura, on the same lines where West Law Firm is, on that side of the street, where the Seth Brothers office, same side. Can we put a wrong or do not enter sign in there? I've noticed people go into the west or towards the Seth Brothers on the opposite side. I know you're gonna put one-way signs up, but I think there needs to be a do not enter type sign, the big red ones that we have in other places.
So unfortunately, because it is a private right-of-way, the city cannot require it of the property owners. However, they can choose to do that, and we can make recommendations based on what we see in the traffic patterns. That's why we have some of these triggers built in with the FDP amendment. But James Turner would have to give you more information, our city traffic engineer, to fully.
I'll follow up with him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, if you follow up with...
I'll make a motion.
City manager will follow up.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Kermali. Do we have a second? Second. Got a second by Lane. Vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Contracts and agreements, item number 6A, consideration of an action on authorization of a contract with Texas Highway Products Limited in the amount of $2,711,315 through the Bi-Board Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 70323 for the purchase of no traffic AI detection system for the Next Gen ITS Detection Project, CIP CTR 2402. And we've got Mr. James Turner. So James, you heard the comments, so you'll be right on that, won't you?
I will check into that. I'm not familiar with the area, but I'll check into it, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, for your consideration is a new system that we're very excited about. The city is in a process of building that next generation of intelligent transportation systems. We're looking for systems that extend our capabilities, make our roads safer, more efficient, make us more proactive when it comes to mobility. One of the key components in traffic is signal detection. In essence, it actually tells the signal what's happening at the intersection. It's actually detecting the vehicle. So up on the screen, it shows some of the older versions of the signal detection that we have in our industry. The oldest of them is inductive loops, which is the image with the vehicle here, where they put wires in the roadway, and when a car goes over it, you can detect it. There's several different ones. The city has tried them all: video detection, infrared, radar, and about 10 years ago now, 2013, we started experimenting with magnetometers. They showed great accuracy, and it's actually the basis of our detection today. So with that, they're, again, as I mentioned earlier, they're key to our operation in the Traffic Management Center. Again, their first priority is detecting vehicles at the signal, but engineering-wise, they help us make decisions as we're looking at TIAs, as we're looking at our optimizations on our corridors, operations in the TMC. You see some of the graphics that our team uses that gives them metrics on how many vehicles per day, what's the peak hour, which direction of flow does it, at what time does it change throughout the day on our systems. Additionally, detection also feeds our adaptive system. And these are just algorithms that you feed the input in and you get an output and makes an automatic decision on our roadways. So it's very important that we feed it accurate data so it can make proper decisions. But now we're in the next generation of detection that's flooding our industry. I shouldn't say flooding, but coming into our industry. And they extend those capabilities tremendously. First and foremost, of course, they have to be able to detect vehicles, but now they're being able to detect pedestrians and bikes on our signals. And you see an image on the bottom left here where you kind of see the Vision AR detecting pedestrian. It can quantify those. It can actually tell you how long a pedestrian was waiting at an intersection as well. So the system that we're talking about tonight is called No Traffic AI detection system. And it's a combination of a radar and a camera and of course AI vision combined to one device. And it tracks vehicles as they're coming into the intersection. In this top image here, you can see how it tracks the vehicles, and the people going through are in green, the people turning right are in blue, and left and U-turns as well. With that object tracking capabilities, it can tell us how many people are going through the light when the light is green, which is what this graphic shows, and how many people stop when the signal was red. That is powerful for us to measure how our systems are working. This is just one example of some of those capabilities, but it also can detect how long a vehicle has been there and aggregate that and tell us a level of service based on how many vehicle delay. Without getting too technical, I did want to point some of these things out because they're very important to kind of illustrate those extended capabilities that we're looking at. But the end goal is to make our systems smarter and for us to have a better understanding of our roadways and what's happening on them. This one I'm very excited about as well. I mention safety all the time, but this capability is called Intersection Safety Insights. And it has the capability of seeing if there's a stalled vehicle, if there's an accident, and you can see this top image. The system detected this truck that was stalled, and you can kind of see the doors open. You can kind of see the vehicles going around it. And the TMC got an email notification that this was occurring at Sixth and Town Center. But it also monitors people, unfortunately, running red lights. And the bottom right image shows the vehicle in white running the red light, and unfortunately, the car coming off the side street getting struck later there. The image on the left actually shows that the vehicle went 9.8 seconds after the signal turned yellow and ran that light pretty blatantly. This information from the traffic operations side is very important for us. We weren't able to do this before. We can find these issues before they become a bigger issue. And that's the power of this system here. Future capabilities, being able to detect near misses, wrong way traffic, more fancier applications of connected vehicles and collision avoidance. Expanding on those future potentials, this system is built for the future. No Traffic prides themselves in saying that this is a platform kind of like the iPhone. You got a phone, but it's also going to be able to do many other things. A lot of their hardware allows us to do possible travel time measurements in the future, Vehicle to X, as I just mentioned, vehicle to X means that the signal can talk to the vehicles and have a better understanding of what's happening around it. Corridor insights from a system view, etc. So, no traffic. That's the system that we're evaluating, that I'm presenting about. We started evaluating in August 2022 at Dulles and Viking. We started with that location because it has heavy pedestrians, it's near a school. We wanted to see how it performed. It did very well. In February 2023, we moved it to 6 in Town Center. I wanted to see it at a big, busy intersection. It did not fail. Very impressed with the results, high detection, data accuracy, the extended capabilities I just presented, and more, and of course, the future potential. We evaluated 2 other systems, and they did not perform very well or even close. And 2 other systems actually were asking for a purchase for us to evaluate it, and we passed because they did not even have a proven record in this kind of what we were looking for. So that said, we are wanting to procure the system using the Texas Buy Board contract 703-23. It's a co-op in trying to purchase the hardware that we're presenting. It would be for the entire city, 92 intersections with a 5-year service included for CIP CTR 2402. That said, I'm recommending to authorize a purchase with Texas Highway Products LTD in the maximum amount of $2,711,315 for the no traffic AI detection system for CIP CTR 2402. And before I close, I did want to point out Stacy Taylor from No Traffic is here, and Tim Moorhead from Texas Highway Products. Also, Eric Wagner, he works in the TMC with his team. Kyle and Tam helped us evaluate the system, keeping an eye on it, making sure we were purchasing something valuable. I also want to mention Mr. Wusterhausen, Ronnie Wusterhausen. He's our senior traffic tech, helps us install this great technology out in the field. With that, I give it back to you, Mayor.
Question, council members? Anybody? Suzanne?
Thank you, sir. James, this is exciting. Thank you so much for this, and you were went over it very well, so we have a lot of information. I have a couple of questions. The biggest one is the time frame that we're looking at having this installed.
I think they have a lot of the parts in stock, so as soon as we get the equipment, we're going to be installing it. I probably estimate it's a lot of work, 92 intersection. We're installing it ourselves. I would estimate 6 to 8 months to complete the whole city.
Thank you. Follow-up, please?
Follow-up.
That's pretty quick. Thank you. One of the things I thought was really interesting is on the past TIAs, I don't know if we had pedestrians including in those surveys and that work. So you know that I'm on you for a couple of TIAs in my district. Can we redo those TIAs, including this new information, so we can have pedestrian crossings included in that, not just traffic? Or if it doesn't include this intersection, will we still have access to TIAs with pedestrian?
Yeah, depending on the TIA and depending of the location. Now, these are, of course, for the signalized intersections in the city. But TIAs that are heavily pedestrian dependent, of course, we will request that, and if we didn't do so, we will get that information.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? James, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
So, and this might be for Meredith. So will this information be available, say somebody runs a red light on an intersection and gets hit, no witnesses, except for AI? Is that available for somebody to subpoena that information in order to get it with their insurance company?
I will leave that to Meredith.
That's a wonderful question, Mayor. As you may remember, the last legislative session before the one we just had, traffic enforcement via cameras is prohibited. So there will be very limited usage in a traffic type situation for that. There may be a possibility under a civil situation, but there is no way this information could possibly be used in a criminal because of that state law.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to catch the guy running the red light. I was just trying to help the guy that got hit by the guy that ran the red light.
And that would most likely be up to a civil judge.
Okay. Thanks, Mary. William?
So there's a lot going on our streets. I'm impressed with this data collection. So I want to understand, this is a lot of good information. We also have license plate recognition cameras that should be going in sometime soon. And then there's a system that helps our emergency vehicles enter. So all of these, it's 3 different systems, correct? Wow.
3 different systems, yes.
Yeah, and they don't work together. We don't need them to, correct?
Correct.
Okay, this is exciting. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Kermally. Do I have a second? Second by Watley. Vote this time, please. And it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. At this time, we're going to move to item number 6, ordinances and resolutions. We're going to change the order a little bit, Rick. 7B, consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Resolution number 2405, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board, authorizing the filing of an application for assistance and making certain findings. In connection therewith, we have Rick Ramirez, our Intergovernmental Relations Manager, and Robert Wilson, our Assistant City Engineer. And Rick, we have a couple guests that I'll let you introduce.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you for acknowledging our esteemed guest. I do have a slide specifically thanking our guest here, so I will do that here in a little while. I do want to say this is the culmination of a lot of work that multiple departments have been doing. We have the IGR office, obviously, City Attorney's Office, Engineering, Public Works, Grants, specifically Sharon Shapiro. We also have partners with Fort Bend County, LIDS, and other neighboring counties and cities, and also, obviously, the state legislature. So with that, what we're going to be talking to you today is about Resolution 2405, which has to do with $28 million that is available to the City of Sugar Land to take care of one of our biggest problems here in Fort Bend County, which is erosion along the Brazos River. I'll be providing an overview of Project Brazos and the state appropriations process, and Robert Wilson will give you a project overview. We'll explain Resolution 2405, and we'll give you a staff recommendation. So, as you all know, the Brazos River is big. It's the 11th longest river in the U.S., and 89 miles of the Brazos River flow through Fort Bend County. With recent heavy rainfalls increasing in Fort Bend County, especially Hurricane Harvey and the tax day floods, we've seen increased erosion along the Brazos River, and that has caused many concerns with multiple jurisdictions within the Fort Bend County. So back in the early 2010s, Fort Bend County, Richmond, City of Sugar Land, we all did studies to look at the Brazos River and how mitigation of the banks affected our community. We came up with engineering solutions through those studies, and in 2019, Project Brazos was created with the City of Sugar Land and Fort Bend County. This was our effort to create a collaborative effort with different governmental entities to tackle one of our biggest problems. Also in 2019, we took out our state senators and our representatives to tour the Brazos River. We had a very large meeting. We coordinated with the county. We had helicopters fly over the Brazos. We had bus tours and that sort of thing. We've also brought along our congressional members, and anytime there was a new elected official, we brought them out there as well. We wanted to make sure that they understood that this was important to our region. In 2020, we received peer support resolutions. This is from 3 neighboring counties, Fort Bend County, all of the LIDS, and neighboring cities as well, who all supported our work in tackling this issue. And in 2023, we received federal funding for the I-69 and Memorial Park project. We received a notice of funding eligibility issued by the General Land Office. The county received $38.5 million, and the city received $4 million. And together, we're going to be working on that project at I-69 and Memorial Park. And now tonight we're talking about the state appropriation through the state budget of $28 million, and that's going to be administered through the Texas Water Development Board. So this is a legislative milestone for the city of Sugar Land. This is the largest state allocation the city has received from the state budget. As you all know, going into the 88th session, we began with record surplus in going to the state. Nearly $40 billion were coming to the state, and legislators were trying to figure out ways to be able to spend that. We had conversations with our legislators. I spoke at a legislative conference as well with our legislators, basically making the case that this is a good use of one-time funding. And so in House Bill 1, which is the budget for the state, our state senators and representatives allocated $28 million. Again, this is going to be administered through the Texas Water Development Board, as they are the administrating state agency. So with that, I'd like to take just a small portion of time and show a small token of our gratitude for Paula Gibson with Senator Kolkhorst's office, if you mind standing, please. And Jennifer Knesick with Senator Huffman's office. And really, just thank you to all of our legislators for their work on this, because they all championed this effort for us. So thank you all, every single one of them. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Robert Wilson, who's going to be going through a little bit more of the engineering side of this and the technical aspect of it. But thank you all very much.
Rick, before we do that, I want to make sure that Jennifer and Paula, we thank the senators. Please thank them again. This is extraordinarily unusual to get a direct allocation from the state budget for a city, much less, an amount like this. So Senator Huffman serves on the Senate side on finance. Senator Kolkhorst, I think, is in that Budget and Finance Committee also. Without them doing the heavy lifting, there's no way this would have passed.
Yes.
So again, we want to reinforce and thank them for an extraordinary job. The county appreciates it, the city appreciates it, and our residents really appreciate it. So thank you all.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So the Brazos River in Fort Bend County has approximately $8 billion in public infrastructure and homes behind levees and other areas that can be impacted by the riverine erosion. There's over 700,000 county residents. It also has hurricane evacuation routes, bridges, water supply intakes, levees, and parklands. So the area specifically that we're focusing on is near Lid 15 in Riverstone. It protects approximately $350 million in properties and infrastructure. And we have a snippet of what the proposed solution would look like. It's a rock, nature-based solution that has been done by the Army Corps of Engineers on the Homachito River in Mississippi, as well as Mud 140 here on the Brazos River. Project management overview. So the next steps, Texas Water Development Board will approve the grant in February in their meeting. Then city staff will procure design consultants pursuant to the city and state's procurement policy. And then we will also follow all of the reporting requirements for the project to the Texas Water Development Board. So with that, resolution number 2405, it requests the financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board in the amount of $28 million. It also designates the city manager to be the authorized representative for the city of Sugar Land for purposes of furnishing documents. So with that, staff recommends approval and authorization for the filing of an application with the Texas Water Development Board to seek financial assistance not exceeding $28 million for the Project Brazos initiative. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Robert. Questions? Suzanne.
I don't really have a question, but I did want to say, as a member of IGR, Rick, you have been adamant in pursuing this, and I've watched you over the last, I guess, a couple of months, more than that, work on this. So thank you for your work, and thank you for pursuing this on behalf of the city and the county. And with that, yes. I would also like to make a motion to approve.
I've got a motion by Watley. Do I have a second? I've got a second by McCutcheon. Any other questions, comments? You vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, Rick, Robert. Jennifer and Paula, thank you again. Thanks for coming down. Next on the agenda, item number 7. A, first consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2328, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, granting a petition from Pulte Homes of Texas LP for the inclusion of 746 acres of land located south of FM 2759 east of FM 762 into the city's ETJ. And we have Lisa Kosich-Meyer, our Director of Planning and Development Services. Lisa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy to be before you. So just over a little month ago, we were before you for a development agreement between the city and Pulte Homes of Texas. You authorized the approval of that development agreement for approximately 958 acres of land that you just described, roughly south of FM 2759 and generally east of 762. So just to orient you here, this is Crab River Road, also known as FM 2759. Here is on the north side, and 762 comes down and heads south this way. The area outlined in red is the approximate 958 acres. That is the proposed development. Also at that time mentioned that the property spans a few different jurisdictions. There is a portion that is already within the city's ETJ, but there are also portions that were in other cities' jurisdictions and ETJs. So that development agreement essentially is served as the developer's petition to request approximately 746 acres to be included in Sugar Land's ETJ. The agreement also said that the city would formally take action and adopt an ordinance bringing in that property into the city's ETJ within 90 days. It also included a form ordinance that is before you this evening that was attached as an exhibit to the development agreement, and it required that the City Council take further action on that ordinance. So here is just kind of a zoom in of the property and kind of the different jurisdictions. So approximately 608 acres, which is located in this area right here, is currently within the town of Thompson's ETJ. And then there's approximately 137 acres. Here's 7 acres, and here's approximately 130, which is unincorporated Fort Bend County, for a total of just about 746 acres that would be brought into the city's ETJ. So to date, a petition has been formally filed with the town of Thompson's to release that property that was within their jurisdiction. Per state law, the release actually does become effective after 45 days if the town of Thompson's does not take any formal action themselves. The developer has requested that the inclusion of the property into the city's ETJ take place before February 15th of this year. That is when they intend to start their mud creation process with TCEQ. So the ordinance before you tonight is ordinance number 2328. It accepts the petition requesting the addition of the property into the city's ETJ. It also authorizes the inclusion of that acreage effective immediately upon the land that is within Thompson's ETJ to be released. It would become effective immediately then. So the next steps, I recommend approval of ordinance 2328 on first reading. Anticipate being back before you for the final and second reading on February 6th.
Thank you, Lisa.
Absolutely.
I'll make the motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Questions? Ferguson? Second. Any questions? Carol?
Just out of curiosity, is any of this in the land in the 100-year floodplain? Do we know?
There is, oh goodness, I would have to think back. There's anybody left here? I'd have to find that question or the answer to that question for you. There's probably portions that are in the 100-year floodplain. There is a creek that runs through the property, so there's probably some floodplain that is along their area.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious, like, Enchanted Forest has several feet of water on their property on the other side of 2759 after Harvey, so that's just, I was thinking about that today.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Got a motion, got a second? If you vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, Lisa. Item number 8, City Council City Manager Reports. City Council Member Reports is item A. William, let's start with you.
Well, Mayor, I would normally not talk too much about an event that happens just outside of our city, except that this one involves so many people from our city. In fact, it involved Accredo, which is one of our amazing companies in our city. But on Thursday, I was asked to be the auctioneer at a Lunches of Love annual event. And I get there and I see all of my Sugar Land residents and all of my Sugar Land businesses. So I wanted to say this because Lunches of Love provides lunches to both Fort Bend ISD and Lamar Consolidated ISD children. And we raised enough, this is the work of volunteers, we raised enough to pay for almost 80,000 lunches for kids moving forward at $1.25 a lunch. So it was pretty impressive, and I'm thankful to everybody in Sugar Land that volunteers and contributes. Lunches of Love is a huge success for our school kids.
Thank you, William. Suzanne?
Well, you caught me off guard. I thought you were going that way.
I was trying to do that.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to say because I got home and been sick, but I did do something and I thought you were going to talk about it, William. We got to go to the new Porsche dealership. And if you know me, you know this was right up my alley. They let us get in the cars, look at the cars, rev a couple of engines. And I'm going to tell you that dealership is absolutely first class, from the way they do their business to the way they think about doing business and the way that they're doing things for Sugar Land. So welcome, Porsche of Sugar Land, and thank you for the tour, William. And Stuart also went. And thank you to Kelly Wolf, the COO of that organization for Indigo. Fabulous dealership. If you want a car, and you can afford that one, go there. Fabulous people.
Jennifer?
I was a guest at the Harmony Schools here with their Service Leadership Society at their club. And it was nice meeting with all these young boys and girls, and their top concerns were traffic. I had questions about traffic in Sugar Land, but they were working on a mental wellness initiative, specifically with suicide prevention, and also concerns with food insecurities. So those were their main concerns.
Thank you, Jennifer. Carol?
Thank you. I attended the 50th anniversary of the Tri-City Women's Club, and Sugar Land was one of the 3 founding cities of that organization, along with Missouri City and Stafford. And the organization raises money to donate to local charities. And William Stewart and I attended the ribbon cutting for Rumble Boxing. And that is a really cool workout facility that's just right across the street from here. So check it out. They're giving a free intro class.
Wonderful. Mayor Pro Tem Kermally.
Thank you, Mayor. No major report, but I just want to thank staff for this past couple of 48 hours. I've had several reports of busted pipes and other things, and Natalie and team and Public Works have been on it really quick and helping our residents. Thank you.
Stuart.
Thank you, Mayor. All of mine have been covered.
I'm going to take just a minute. I want to thank staff. We closed down the main lanes of Highway 59. I know that that was not a unanimously popular decision with some of our residents and some that weren't, but it was made in the best interest of the safety of our citizens. The fact of the matter is, in talking to Chief Poland just a while ago, we had upwards of some 46 accidents because of weather, and that was within, what, an 8-hour period. So 6-hour period, within a 6-hour period. So we've always said public safety, our citizens' safety, is job number one. It continues to be job number one. We probably took a little heat for that, but that's okay. We'll take that kind of heat every time if we can make our citizens safer by an action we take. Item number B, City Manager Report. Michael.
Yeah, Mayor, just real quick, wanted to thank all of our employees for their hard work. It was really cool seeing dozens of public works vehicles and police vehicles and fire and everybody just working really hard to keep everybody safe. So appreciate all that hard work. And also I'd like to invite the public out for some nice cold winter fishing later this week. We're stocking Eldridge Park Lake with a lot of rainbow trout. So come on out.
Perfect weather for rainbow
Perfect
trout,
weather.
yeah.
And you can limit out on 5 a day, Mayor.
That's perfect. Got a motion to adjourn. And we are adjourning at 6:26. Thank you, council members. Thank you, Scouts.